Hello everyone, this is Babamots. Welcome to some more Homeworlds commentary. This time for a treat, we've got Andy Looney and John Cooper again. Andy Looney is Chief Creative Officer of Looney Labs that markets the pyramids. Andy invented the pyramids themselves, and John Cooper is the inventor of Homeworlds. They play Homeworlds often, and we get to watch since they play on Board Game Arena most of the time now. I'm going to throw this out there. John Cooper has recently invented another game that's going to be marketed by Cosmos, same people that publish the game The Crew, that's quite popular. And John Cooper's game is called The Gang. It's not The Crew, it's The Gang. And it's a cooperative poker-style game, whereas The Crew was a cooperative trick-taking game like Hearts or Bridge. And I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on that. Little plug for that. Okay, Andy Looney goes first. Andy usually wins because Andy's very good, but John does surprising things sometimes. Oh, Andy and John don't usually take small universes, but they've taken the same homeworld here. They've both taken banker setups, so they'll both be connected to large stars and might be a shorter game, more dynamic. Or dynamic, I don't even know what that word means here. Might be a faster game, we'll see. Okay, John switches to yellow, doesn't get trapped on his homeworld for too long, but that does mean that Andy has cleaned up all of the small blues. Yeah, Andy not trading away those blues. He's going to keep the smalls out of reach for now. John might actually want to trade his large for a blue here. Thinking about trading for red. Okay, if John... No, it's too late for John to even join the mediums, join the blue economy at the medium level, because by the time John builds a medium yellow, Andy can build the last medium. Oh, interesting. Andy's gonna trade for yellow. Okay, John now has the opportunity to get the medium blue if he wants. No, not worried about that. Okay, if you're going to get locked out of anything, blue's the color to do it, as a rule. So this is pretty interesting. John building a third green at home. Andy could actually overpopulate those ships of John's, but Andy would be left with so little material. If Andy sacrificed the Y2 to move the G3 to John's home, Andy would be left with just two little blue ships, and John would still have these yellows. So I think John would have the advantage there. But it's an interesting thing. I think if it were the positions were reversed, John gets so aggressive, John might actually take that trade. But Andy's usually more conservative. Sorry to apply that term to you, Andy. More careful play style. Okay. And Andy has... Oh, how interesting. Okay, Andy has no red. John thinking about getting aggressive, going into that colony that John might be thinking he wants to supernova the colony. Oh, really? Gonna move in two ships, a yellow and a green. How scared should Andy be? Not that much. I mean, Andy can just walk away with any one of those ships and be fine. If Andy moves away one of the mediums, then whatever John invests in trying to blow up that star isn't going to be worth it, I think. Andy trading for the red? Okay. Does John go ahead and try to build into a supernova? Yes. It's not a terrible idea. Andy can only attack with an R2 sacrifice, so if John... moving that little guy into Andy's home, capturing it, Andy would have to sacrifice the R2 to get a G1. Interesting. I think this might, though, be a standard case of John being a little too aggressive and fancy, and not quite having a sound line of play. Well, see here. Okay, I like the green build better. That way, even if Andy captures everything in that colony, John can just move in the G1, and Andy will lose more. Let's see what Andy does. Sacrifices the Y2. Doesn't want to deal with the supernova. Okay. This is an oddity of how Board Game Arena lays things out. Just pointing out that the large star here is connected to both homeworlds. The medium star that's just appeared closer to John is not connected. John is still just connected to the middle row here. John still getting so aggressive. So aggressive. I guess that's okay. You know, Andy doesn't have any yellow anymore, so if Andy does capture this, John can still have a shopping spree, clean out the greens, and end up with a factory, and Andy wouldn't be able to overpopulate. John would have three greens in their colony and at home, but Andy wouldn't be able to do anything about it, even after capturing this G1. So that's pretty interesting. I like that a little less well because if Andy captures the green while it's at his home, then if John tries the shopping spree, John will have three green pieces in Solaris, including the star, and Andy would be able to overpopulate them because Andy has access to yellow at his home. Andy goes for the capture. No, doesn't want any. Okay, doesn't want to lose the red. Andy, though, has just traded away their only green ship. How interesting. Okay, John now, I think it's a pretty good time for a shopping spree. Oh, I've got my doubts about that. Andy can start capture. Oh, Andy's going to sacrifice for the capture? I think Andy should just take one. John doesn't have any red to take anything back. This way, Andy is losing an R2 that he doesn't have to capture things that John can just blow up for absolutely free. If Andy does this, I expect John to sacrifice G3 to rebuild their G3, build the G3 in Andy's home to blow up the greens, and then build a free G1 either at home or in the colony. And Andy's down an R2 that they didn't really need to sacrifice. Ooh, okay. See if John does that. Oh, building some yellow instead. Okay, yeah, John's got plenty of green. They don't necessarily building the yellow might be better. In fact, especially since John has yellow and Andy doesn't. Okay. You know, coming up, I think I probably like that better. Oh my, how interesting. Um, the things I would normally be worried about in this position for John is that, well, he's got three greens at home and he could overpopulate. He's got he's got a green at a green star, so he could lose the colony. But Andy doesn't have enough yellow to do either of those things. Andy can't overpopulate Solaris in one turn, can't overpopulate John's greens at home in one turn. And in fact, although Andy can capture this G1 on his next turn, if he does, John just moves in the other G1 to overpopulate all of them, and John loves that situation too. Yeah, if John does this, I think Andy's just got to spread out the greens. Totally ignore or sacrifice one of them. You know, sacrificing one of them for two medium blue builds is probably Andy's right move in this position. But that's a clever little maneuver from John. Not doing the more obvious thing I had in mind. Okay, Andy's thinking of trading one of them out for the yellow. Oh yeah, John's almost got the yellows locked down. That's good on Andy for not being as dumb as me and just going for the blues when the yellows are running out fast. John thinking about building another green. No, 4 is too many. You know this better than anyone. Green sacrifice, getting some more green in Andy's home and expanding the yellow lead. Of course, Andy can't keep building yellow. Andy's got to spread out to avoid losing their star, in fact. I think that was a great move. Have you got something better, John? Getting aggressive? I don't see that as a win. No, overpopulating just that one green, losing your factory to do it. I don't like that. Yeah, I love the G3 sacrifice for a bunch of for more green and more yellow. I think that's quite good. Just a matter of where to put it. Not in Andy's home, I don't think. Not to blow up that G2. I don't think. Oh, John commits to it. Okay. Oh, well, that makes it so Andy's got no yellow at their homeworld. So why not? Andy can't build those yellows. One thing I like about watching Andy and John play is that they play each other so much, and as far as I know, they don't play other people all that often. So I feel like they've got their own little meta game going on. They do things that and they get game situations that I just don't see in other people's games. Okay, Andy spreading out the yellow in order to have a place to build the G3, the Y3. Boy, and John is just not letting up. Bringing into John's got the material advantage. I think John should be playing it slow. I think I would anyway. Andy can't capture both of these invaders, so John will get the star. John will get the yellow star. Okay. I'm assuming that's the plan. Andy builds some blue. Okay. That's one thing that John's move did. It cut off the large yellows, so Andy wasn't able to build one, and doesn't want to build one now because John would get the big yellow instead. John now trading for some red. Okay, John's got some red now, so they're a little more of a threat to Andy's home. Although just one capture isn't too scary from John. I'm surprised Andy reacted that way. I guess Andy wanted more space to build the blue. But it looked at first like Andy was worried about John capturing the little blue. But of course Andy could just capture it back, and that's not the issue. So John is not in any hurry to build that last yellow. Because John doesn't need to do it until Andy captures one of them. And Andy knows that capturing is a waste of time because John would just build, so that's just going to sit there for a while. Okay, John opened up the large yellows, though. So Andy takes one, yeah. I don't... What did John have in mind here? John had... I can't. I missed it whenever John sacrificed a G3 and didn't rebuild it. But I think that may have been a mistake. It's nice to have. It's really nice to have a large ship that can maneuver. Okay, that's pretty good. John's spreading out the yellows to have another place to build one. And in fact, John could build both of them by sacrificing the G3. That'd get another build action someplace, maybe. Threatening to overpopulate Andy's star and Andy's flagship in one go. That's pretty strong. Andy, though, ooh, that looks good, but I think it's not actually as good as it looks. Andy decreases the yellow concentration and prepares to capture, but John is now perfectly set up for a yellow shopping spree. Yeah, I think Andy gonna straight up run away to a blue at a red? I don't know what that's about. I think they want to get that yellow out of harm's way where it can't be captured. And also decrease the yellow concentration so it's harder to overpopulate the flagship. That's a little better. Something I haven't been pointing out, but that should be recognized here, is that Andy can't sacrifice the R3 at home in order to capture in colony fights anywhere, because it's Andy's only home ship. So Andy effectively has no red anywhere except for home. Whereas John, with their little red that they could sacrifice, has red everywhere. Okay, big move. John sacrificing the Y3, the G3. Yeah, this is great. This is great. Overpopulate Andy's home star. Threaten that flagship with both overpopulation and capture, and replace your mothership. Good. I'm kind of expecting Andy from here to just overpopulate their own flagship to bring John down in material a little bit. I think that's a great move. Does Andy run away? Andy runs away. I think that's probably better than overpopulating. Andy wants, I think, now to defend their blues, just keep a death grip on the blues. Though they also need some green, and Andy needs some green in order to get some red. John. Oh, really? Moving out the mothership? I bet they'll take that back. There's no way. Oh, yeah, and I brought up the red mothership situation. Andy looks like they're threatening this colony, but Andy's got no red that they can sacrifice. These greens are totally safe. John might still want to send it supernova in case, especially if Andy plants any more blue in that system. Andy's gonna work on building over there in Arrakis, the planet of Dune. Relevant because of there's recent movies. Okay. John now coming over to Arrakis. Might be thinking about capturing something. John's only got the one capture action available. I think if I was John, I'd be wanting to build more red. John is actually really close to getting a fleet catastrophe on Andy if they just build a little more red. Preparing to... Let's see. Andy wanting to do a big play to get that B3 out of there and reinforce their home. Even with a ship that matches the home star, this is safer in a lot of ways, especially since John doesn't have any blue. Sending their B3 to a system that's actually got some red now, so that John can't threaten it so easily. Oh, I should point out that the systems have rearranged. The large systems are now next to John's home because of the hyperspace bypass principle. Andy lost a star, connectivity changed, so the most sensible way to lay things out that I could come up with is now like this. Okay, John takes that capture. They can get a B3 now. Oh, I'm not sure I like this. Andy could sacrifice their mothership to capture John's Y3 if John does this. I don't think that's a good move. Andy doesn't have any yellow, so having a B3 at home isn't all that bad. But if I'm John, there's no way I'm not building. I absolutely would have built that B3 in Arrakis. I have no idea why he didn't. Okay, Andy sacrifices the blue for a yellow trade, green trade, or just trading for yellow. Okay. John... Oh! I'm a little blind here. The medium star Arrakis is not connected to Andy's home. I was thinking that John was closer to victory than he is. Sacrificing the Y3 to bring in a blue and a green. I don't think that's a problem for Andy if he just captures the blue. I'm not seeing it. All right, John, let's see what you settle on. Really, invasion time. I don't think I like this at all. I don't. Nothing John has matches the mothership. They're not going to get John's not going to get a fleet catastrophe out of this. And they don't have anything big enough to capture Andy's mothership. And there's no way they're going to get enough blue to blow up the star. This doesn't even feel like a threat. Okay. If John's got some genius plan, I want to see it. Andy takes the medium yellow, which is what I'd expect. John builds some green. Okay. Sacrifices their mothership for 2 trades to blow up the yellows that he just handed to Andy? Oh no, John. Ugh. I believe you absolutely had this. I think John had this game in the bag. Even 3 turns ago, I think I would have bet on John overall. But maybe John felt really desperate, and maybe Andy really was winning because yeah, basically because of this, Andy has had the material advantage in blues, which can turn into a maneuverability and other kinds of advantages as soon as Andy starts trading it for yellow. So maybe that's the issue, and maybe John just saw that faster than I did, and Andy was actually winning for a long time, but it looked to me like John threw it away. I'm so sorry. Yeah, John's. Well, oh, this is unusual. So John has. Well, I mean, this is the type of thing that happens often enough, but you don't actually see it play out. Usually, the invader will anticipate this and not invade until they're really ready. Um, yeah, so Andy's going to win, but John is capturing his little ship back every time Andy captures it. Andy can't take both at once without making it a draw because they have to sacrifice his mothership. So he's going to have to trade something else for a red to get more captures at once. Okay, now Andy can sacrifice, capture both, and Andy wins. All right, well, congratulations, Andy, on a game well played as usual. John, I'm sorry. I think there were some pretty big mistakes there. Um, John doing some pretty unexpected things that I don't know what the idea was, but thanks for playing this game and some really good maneuvering, manipulation of the bank in the mid game there. And as always, thank you for inventing this great game for all of us to enjoy. And congratulations on your publishing of The Gang. And I look forward to trying that when I can get my hands on it. And thanks to all of you for listening to me.